Hello, once again, dear viewers, and welcome back to another Moonflower Tarot reading. And today I'm going to be channeling messages from Archangel Michael, who has been coming through in the collective as a guardian, as well as spirit to age transformation, or aid transformation in this upcoming age. So if you have been drawn to this, then this is your reading. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help. And I'm just so happy to have you here. Um, Before we get started, I am going to be pulling cards on camera this time and see how that goes. I will first start off by relaying messages that I got before I sat down to film. I was doing a little bit of channeling before I started, and then I'm going to kind of read the energy and see where we go, and then I'm going to get some clarifiers. But one of the clarifiers that this is your reading for a few of you, Spirit or Michael mentioned bowling or bowling leagues, and then specifically showed me an image of a man. He looked like he was either in his late 30s or early 40s, polishing like a bowling ball, like a for 10 pin, like the big ones. And there was a child right next to him hugging him. So, a message about either if you like bowling, you're in a bowling league, then this is for you. Or if you had a passion for bowling in the past or growing up, there's also a message about healing your inner child or reconnecting with it. And by doing that, you will also mend and also bridge connections between you and other children in your life or your family. So let's say if you're having a hard time connecting with a younger member of the family, whether you are their father or wow, I'm getting specifically male. If you're their parent, you don't have to be male, but I was getting that. So then that's for you. If you're their parent and you're having a hard time connecting, just, reconnect with your inner child. What did you like growing up? And then by healing that wound, you kind of see eye to eye more with children, because the reason why a lot of people kind of are not really getting along with the younger generation, and this is like a timeless thing, this happens all the time, is because they've lost touch with their inner child, or there's a wounding there. There's like this sense of the either parentalized adult or the child that never grew up or knew how to get along with other children, then kind of taking that out on the generation that seems beneath them. But the truth is that a reaction to someone else's child, or the child in someone else, whether they are a literal child or just they're expressing their youth, that is a reaction to a wound. So if you're having trouble either, or you're seeing that people around you are having trouble trying to connect with younger generations or just youth in general, embodying that, because we never really truly lose that side of ourselves. We just kind of grow up. But there's a need to do that. I was also shown the image of a dove, and specifically like a dove with an olive branch in its mouth. So there's a time of peace coming, or this need to kind of relax and find peace within as well. Uh, I was seeing morning glories, like blue morning glories, as blue is also Michael's color. So if you've been seeing blue, also green around you, that's a sign that he's around, either flashes or you've been just noticing the color blue popping up more often. Also gladiolas, which is another type of flower. And I believe that the name is like, it's basically like a sword flower. And Michael is associated with a sword and truth. Those morning glories and gladiolas might be important to you. You might already have a garden with them, or they have some significance, or you might just notice them. That is a sign from Archangel Michael. The florist in you will notice them. A lot of truth coming forward, as well as possible gifts, psychic or magic gifts breaking through, maybe even past life memories, but something to do with a wound you might have suffered in a past life, even coming back in a way for you to break through and remind you of a gift you had been given or you received in a past life. And, it's going to manifest differently in this one, because maybe in the past life you didn't come from this planet, you didn't have the same DNA, and it kind of translates differently. So being in a human vessel and shell it's not going to be a one-on-one, like, oh, you used to be able to fly through space or whatever. It's not literal. So basically it's like you have like this weird soul memory and soul pattern that still persists, and maybe that might translate into you just liking astrology or astronomy. Maybe you like space, or you're just envisioning like what alternate dimensions might lie outside our own. Maybe you're really into the MCU universe. Like maybe you like the idea of like multiple realities and dimensions. Nothing is beyond the realm of possibilities. Just because we can't observe it right here doesn't mean it's not possible or cannot exist. So perhaps you are dealing with some sort of weird living memory, and oftentimes things that happen in our lives create that breakthrough. Like if we have an urge to change, there will be a catalyst, and that will set in motion a series of events. And you might even be having like these weird dreams or memories plague you, or just weird flashbacks. And that's your soul trying to remind you, sorry, of a part of you that you lost a while ago. And now my throat kind of feels weird and tense. That kind of happens sometimes with me when I'm trying to get information through and I'm having a hard time. And I'm wondering if my throat chakra is blocked, or I'm just kind of feeling this sense of hesitancy. Like you don't want it to be true. You don't want it to come through. But the best way to go about this is to be observant and be slightly detached. It's sort of like, oh, okay, so this is happening. And don't lose yourself either way. Don't attach yourself to these things that are coming through or coming up. That's another big suggestion when it comes to this, because I do feel like there's a little bit of tension when it comes to talking about this. And maybe this isn't something that you even thought about if you grew up, because I'm sensing a lot of religious undertones with this collective. Or if you identify with that, the people who are most hesitant within this collective might be the ones who grew up I'm hearing a strict Christian nation, or there's some sort of religious beliefs that you feel clash with this understanding that you have. And I just want to say that that's not always the case, because any and all religions have this component of spirituality. I mean, that's literally, how do we connect with the divine? There's this esotericism, there were literally prophets had dreams talking with God. So if you're dealing with something in the modern day and age, it's no different from how it was done back then. We just had a different context and different leadership in the different religious factions that kind of tell people otherwise. But the truth is that there's still like nuns and monks out there who have these like weird experiences of like euphoria and connecting with the divine, because they devote all their lives to just being with the divine. And that's what they kind of channel through when all you're talking to is God. That's what you're going to focus on. But if you're just going about your everyday life and you feel a closer connection with something like higher than you, outside of you, but also inside of you, it's not beyond you. It's just trying to reconnect with you because it was part of you and it still is, but it's about reframing how it is. And from your own truth and your own eyes. And if you're afraid to do it because you were like kind of indoctrinated into a religious system that forbade you from exploring that part of you, do it in secret. No, you're not losing your mind. Or just research other like branches of a specific religion or orthodoxies, because truth be told, like every single religion has their faction or part of it that is entirely spiritual. It's just entirely devoted to the connection between the physical world and the divine. So, try to look into that, because if you feel drawn to that, it's not a curse, it's a gift. It's not a burden, it's wisdom, and it's heightening, every single part of your life. And if you're lost in the realm of psychology, so to speak, don't be afraid to give in to the part of yourself that feels like it's lost. Sometimes you do have to get lost to find yourself, because it's like you're not losing any part of yourself, right? You're just going back to something that you missed along the way. And now that may make sense to a few of you. I'm finding myself struggling to talk. So that might be a good sign that there is some hesitancy coming from you and a weird disconnect between you and your soul. But Michael's here. Like, definitely ask him for help. He'll help you through this. Another message that came up had to do with Advent season. If you're watching this around there, I'm also seeing the colors of the candles for the Advent calendar. If you're traveling for the holidays and tree lightings, it seems to be like Michael is watching over you or protecting you if you're getting together with the family. And this is like jumping ahead from the time of recording. It's not that season, but if you have plans, if you're planning way ahead, or if you're even doing or, shopping or preparing for that, you're being guided and protected. I'm also hearing the phrase, don't lay down so easily. Let the universe manifest for you and around you. I'm getting this feeling that there's a lot of force of will. Like you're trying to brute force life when life is just wanting to wade around you. That is a weird way to put it. A song came up from VeggieTales. So there, like I said, there's some Christian undertones and you might cringe, but there was because I grew up in that and I had to reframe it myself. So I've been there, I'm processing this as well. But there was this cartoon called VeggieTales, kind of, I don't want to say Christian propaganda because there were actually some lessons that were good, but the specific episode was the Grapes of Wrath. And because I started hearing the Grapes of Wrath song, We Never Take a Bath, and I'm like, wait, why are you bringing VeggieTales? But basically that episode was about forgiveness. And Archangel Michael's like, listen, I didn't stutter. I'm having a hard time talking. I'm stuttering, but he didn't. He's very straightforward, to the point. No, I said that. And the entire episode was about forgiveness. With a little bit of a caveat, forgiveness with the intention to change, because the whole point of that forgiveness parable that Jesus basically gave was, if a person like does something against you and they didn't know it was wrong, forgive them, and forgive them as many times. Like, there's no limit. I know he gave a number in the Bible, but that literally is like, there's no limit to how many times you forgive. You just freaking forgive. And I don't know if there's someone here who needs to hear that, but the whole lesson of forgiveness in the modern day and age is to forgive, not forget, and hold people accountable for what they've done. But forgiveness is more for you. Forgiveness is understanding that this person will not change. Even if you set boundaries with them, even if they are sorry, if they keep doing the same thing, you kind of just have to be like, okay, I'm going to forgive you. I'm going to let you go and move on with my life. But I know you. I remember what you did. You're going to keep doing the same thing. So I will keep forgiving you, but I'm not going to make excuses. And I'm not going to give you a chance to do the same thing over again. And I think that's the thing we often confuse when we look at that lesson. Is we're being taught by people who want you to keep letting them get away with the things they do and making excuses. Like, forgiveness is not a get out of jail free card. It's for you to heal and release a wound that was made against you from a person who may not even change. Because if Jesus had to say, you do it as many times as a person sins against you, the other implication is that you're not going to be in their life long enough for them to do that anyway. If you know that they're a bad person, they won't change. It's on you to leave. It's on you to have radical acceptance and say, you will not change. You are not going to be better than this and than you were before, but I am. I am good enough to know that you are just a little child who's going to keep playing around in the mud and throwing it everywhere and saying, but I'm sorry. And it's like, but I told you I don't like that. I told you it's harmful, and yet you still insist. And that at that point, if you know someone's not going to change, that's kind of on you. But it's still on you to decide, do you forgive them knowing that they are like literally stuck there? They cannot change and move on, but you can. And I think that's the other half of the message that um, Michael wanted to bring through. Miracles do happen when you believe too, by the way, I want to say. You might not believe in miracles and you might be having a crisis of faith and trusting what is real and true. And it's just going to be a weird growing pain for now. So I'm with that out of the way, you see, I'm mostly an energy reader. We're just going to go with it. I'm going to try to pick out some cards. So let's see which stand out. Waves of wrath. Okay. Oh, and this one. This one. I get some really weird songs too in my mind. But one of the songs that did come up, and I'll link it, or I will write it in the description below, was the Meghan Trainor song "Me Too." You know, if I was you, I wanna be me too. And if there's a time in your life where you're kind of glowing up and moving on, you're going to probably face some jealousy, and that's a given. Especially if you have been facing challenging situations head on and doing so gracefully, and maybe there are people out there who wish you didn't exist in that way. If you have been dealing with bullies, by the way, or I'm going to say trigger warning, like narcissistic family members, or I'm hearing parents even, or if you've had a very hectic and neglectful childhood, well, that would kind of explain what I was getting from Michael. I would just recommend choosing to ignore them. You don't have to forgive them, by the way. That is just kind of a message for a few of you who are ready to move on. You do not have to. Like, you don't have to forgive a dang person. It is your choice to move on with your life. But the recommendation is just to freaking ignore them. Hopefully they'll go away. Like a little spider or the boogeyman. It's like, maybe if I don't look at them, they'll disappear. So, okay, I'm hearing we're reading them up right. I was taken to what was that creature from Harry Potter? Oh my God, I forget the name of it. The one that takes the form of your fear, and then you have to like cast a spell to, okay, there's the travel component, to like turn it into something that will make you laugh. Whoa. Okay, so I'm reading them all upright. Okay, so I heard the song Believer by Imagine Dragons. You are your master and your CO. You are your commanding officer. Like, you are the master of your domain. And this is another thing that came up too. The only thing that we can choose is how we react. And how we react also reframes how we choose to see people, their behavior, and the situations we've been in. Because, there's a lot of awful people out there. I hate to say it, but I've met a lot of people which I wanted to see the best in, but they did nothing but show me the worst. And I love them with all my heart. And that's a hard thing to do, to try to balance and have both mindsets of, I love you as a person and as a being in this world. And you cause so much pain, I cannot be with you anymore. I'm also hearing the song Stand and Deliver. So there's this need to highlight authenticity within you and kind of veer off from the status quo. And so far as like moving on from maybe an institutionalized form of thought or belief, whether this is religion or your family or even a job or career, or maybe something that you are currently or had learned in university, that doesn't seem to be true, because institutions change and they usually form around the leadership or some sort of leadership within the institutions, because this kind of also feels like a career thing that you might, I'm hearing, be disqualified for a degree. Also, so this is an added thing. This might, you might, okay. I got a couple things because I was taken to a specific type of college that was a faith-based university. I got a little bit tongue-tied for a second. Bear with me. I'm struggling to get this out. You might be from some sort of faith-based university. And if that's the case, and you're trying to like uphold the version of what you know and believe to be true, let's just say the more ethical and loving God of the Bible rather than the wrathful one, because there are people who hold to the New Testament and there are those who go by the Old Testament. Are you an Old Testament healer or are you the New Testament healer? And I know this is a lot to do with like Christian ideology and identity, and you might identify with that as or no. And if you don't, that's okay. Like disregard this portion. If you do have a lot of religious wounds growing up, a little bit tongue-tied, so bear with me. There might be a little bit of this going on. If you're having trouble talking, if you're being spoken over or silenced, if you're healing some sort of wound, just know that everything's going to be okay. The truth, I'm getting a lot of messages. Truth responds to how, truth dictates how you respond to it. I'm getting a lot of conflicting messages, and maybe there's a lot confusing you right now. There's a little bit of hesitancy overall. I'm more feeling this. I'm not even reading the cards. There's an urgency to be grounded. The truth will be told, but you need to be open to it and not fear it. You might be scared to speak your truth or speak what you know, because when you're dealing with times of corruption, upheaval, and anger, and if you're seeing that a lot in the news in your area, because it's happening all over the world, if you're feeling that undertone of anger, disillusionment from people who once said that they were people who cared and loved, you might I also heard the phrase Jehovah's Witnesses. Just keep in mind there will be kind of snake oil salesmen in the form of preachers. There are always going to be people who are like crimes of opportunity. They prey on people in vulnerable times and take advantage of them, like loan sharks or people, who go out there and say, here, for only $2 a day, you'll be able to get into the kingdom of heaven. And it's like there will be people out there who will rise up wearing the mask of a leader when they are just like wolves in sheep's clothing. There will always be people who take advantage of those who are vulnerable during times of vulnerability, because they might also be scared and challenging their truth. Like if they're working based on the idea that money equals stability, safety, and power, they're not going to be looking at people as being worthy of existing in a weird way. They're going to be like fighting. They're going to be challenging. You understand? It's sort of like a struggle and a survival. People who are in survival mode are going to come up and prey on those weaker than them because they know where to find them. And I hate to say this, but if you identify as someone who is either working with a vulnerable population, doing outreach to them, or you are, just be very careful with who comes towards you with the promise of love and peace. And do not dare give a dime to someone who says you have to pay for your right to be in the kingdom of heaven. God doesn't want your money. What does God need with money? He created the universe. He is everything. Money is nothing. Money is nothing. The material world, that's nothing. So if someone comes to you and says, I will make you safe and you will be able to survive through this hell, they are lying to you. That's what they believe, but that's not what God is. God wants you to know you are safe. You are cherished. I'm also hearing from my Archangel Sandalphon usually works with me too. This anger, by the way, is coming from Archangel Michael. He wants to come through to you in that form. Like if you feel this anger, If you feel anger towards those who hurt you or who are preying on others, because there are people out there who need your advocacy. If this is your tone of voice and you understand this truth, you need to be there to protect them just like he is. Because all Archangel Michael is the overseer of an entire collective of beings who is like them. If you're here, you are like Archangel Michael. You have that essence of his holiness in you because we are all connected to God. We are all one. You shine the light, that blue neon light of Archangel Michael, and he's here with you saying, don't give up. Don't let these people fall prey to these wolves because the sheep need you. And the sheep aren't dumb. They're just being misguided and you need to guard them. And that might seem like a lot. That, you know, when you have enough people in an echo chamber, they're going to believe some weird and audacious things, but it's not their fault. And sometimes you have to have forgiveness for the children who are lost sheep. They don't know any better. Like, if you are familiar with this type of like indoctrination, you probably understand this. And that might be why you're getting mad on their behalf. God knows you and loves you. He will show you the way. You know, he will find you a solution and you will be found as well. If you don't identify with the person kind of helping these people out, Michael is an intense energy and it feels scorpionic at times because there's some tough love, but he's angry on your behalf. Like, he loves you and is protecting you, whether you identify as a follower of him or not. And if you are someone who needs to look up to someone or someone to follow, talk to Michael. He will lead you to the people who are like him. But you kind of have to like take the blindfolds off and be very open and honest, like with yourself about the situation. If you feel like you have been victimized and you are in a very dangerous situation or vulnerable, or you're just having a hard time with what's around you, like, try to pray and look to the ones around you that do have that kind of mindset, but also don't prey on your vulnerability, who sit there with you and try to find solutions. Because Michael will give you a list of options to choose from, but corrupt shepherds and wolves will say there's only one way. And that's how you begin indoctrination, by the way, is you say there's only one way and it's my way and you can't have any other. You can't ask. Don't ask for any other way. It's this way. And here's a list of reasons why. And we're just going to cherry pick verses from a Bible and just never mind all those things about, you know, it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. You can't carry it with you. You can't take money with you. It does not exist. The kingdom of heaven does not have a currency like pay plan. You don't have to pay the subscription to get in. Your soul has to be a certain degree, a certain level of clarity. And if you are being driven by the idea of owning property or owning people or being in the spotlight alone, that's probably not very good for your soul. Following the ones who feel that way is not either. So whoever you are and whatever you identify with, this is a tough love from Archangel Michael. He is with you. He loves you. Don't listen to them. And I'm getting angry on your behalf as well. Like, if you need to kind of look into him and fall into him and talk to him, because I feel like I keep wanting to say the same thing, like hammering in the message. I didn't expect it to go this far, but if you identify as like a peacekeeper or someone who's advocating for others, I'm hearing you're a last resort, or okay, you're the last resort for this channel, and that's a lot, Michael. I don't know what that means, but you're a last resort for a lot of people. If you're channeling that advocacy, you are channeling Michael. Like, he's speaking through you. Like, I am speaking that tone. If you speak this way to anybody because you're trying to protect someone, you're reaching their soul. You're pulling it out from the darkness. You know, none of this lovey-dovey kumbaya stuff. It's sometimes you have to say, hey, that's not right. That's not fair. Get the heck out of there. Like, Jesus was in the temple flipping tables. Like, how dare you desecrate this house of holiness? And you know why he was doing it? Because they were freaking turning it into a market. It's like, you're desecrating this with money. No, everyone's free to come here. Don't turn this into some sort of like property exchange place. This is a holy temple. And you know what happened to him after that. So please, please, you have to be that voice. In times of injustice, be the one who changes the world for the better, because you are bringing the world back into balance. Like, this is how it's supposed to be, this Two of Cups, equal give and take. Who is being taken advantage of? And if you are, who can you look to who is giving you all these options and is actually listening to what you say, is listening, because then you know who to trust and you know who not to fall for. If someone tells you there's only one way and it's by giving them money and submitting yourself, no, that's not it. God will also present a whole bunch of ways to get something done, and none of them are wrong, and he will love you even if you decide not to listen. See, that's the beauty of working with the divine. And there might be some grief here when it comes to dealing with that. Like, you saw the world growing up in a certain way and now you're disillusioned, or you feel like you've been betrayed, and the truth is, like, no, you were not. You were just given one fraction or one percentage of a view, and there are many other viewpoints in the world, and most of them you probably already hold, but you will never know until you look for them. So that's another message for some of you, that I want to get to these two, because this is what I was feeling like. And this came up in a short reading the other day I put out about traveling and the Christmas holiday season, whether or whatever holiday you celebrate, regardless of your religion. I am specifically getting more Christianity. And we're dealing with Archangel Michael. This feels like he is surrounding you during the Christmas season, because you might even be doing like missionary work or going to another state to do caroling or raise money. I also heard the phrase poverty rights. You might be advocating for those in need, or those who need shelter, or maybe volunteering even at like a soup kitchen, food pantry. I'm hearing Meals on Wheels, or maybe even, advocating for those who need food during the season. But your work is going to be protected. I'm also hearing healing the uneducated population. So you might be also teaching people or spreading words of wisdom during that time. Not proselytizing, by the way. It's like, because now I'm seeing someone giving a lecture for free in a library, because now I'm getting like NASA, astronomy, space science, that sort of thing. And well, okay, so Europa, if you're kind of watching closely or dealing with missions that have to do with like, because I forget what it's called, but there was like this, I think the Juno project, where there was like this, what would you call it? Like this gadget thingy, this space flight thingy that was going to take samples from the moons of Jupiter or something like that. You're probably right in the comments below, because I am at a loss for words right now, but I was just taken to that. There was some sort of project where, it's like an unmanned space thingy. That's all I can think of. It's an unmanned, not a ship, it's not a drone. I forget what they're called, but it's like a shuttle type thing. And it's just going to take like samples, like how Ingenuity was on Mars or whatever. So kind of that sort of thing. If you are also, I'm getting particle physicists, so I'm like, if you're here on my channel and that's coming through, well, you're doing the world a favor, because we kind of need to really dive deeper into that kind of thing. I think I felt kind of lightheaded for a moment, so maybe there's this feeling of like surreal. It's I don't know how to put this, but I kind of felt lightheaded for a moment. Like, I feel calm, but oddly lightheaded. So I do feel like maybe wow, okay, like, if you're in, okay, this is a lot. If you've ever been in like, I don't know how to describe this feeling. I feel like I am in like orbit right now, where I feel like lightheaded and dizzy and like floating a little bit. So if you've been like even in a shuttle in low orbit, or one of those like chambers, like low gravity chambers, just to test it out, like, that feels like what you are made to do now. And it's kind of redirecting and retraining people how to traverse space and how to see it, or at least navigate the world. So we went from, old school to new age Christianity to, okay, so we have some astronauts in training or people who like space science. But yeah, no, I got that feeling. And like, you don't have to be like a scientist or an astronaut. Like, you could just be extremely passionate about those things. But I felt that. So either you have been through that or you will be in your near future. If that stuff is open to the public, I am not sure. Or you've been in one of those skydiving chambers, which is also very fun and will ignite your inner child. So also recommend that. There are probably places you can go to do that, or like zip lining. So that type of euphoria came out, and I kind of felt like a loss for words again, but it was completely different from here. So if you feel like there are people or forces beyond your control undermining your progress, like, don't worry. Like, the angels, the forces of this world and the universe are working with you, because like I said, Michael exists within so many people in the collective. Like, I channel him often, so he exists in me as well as you. You just gotta reach into the part of your soul that is that. That's why certain types of angels and spirits connect with us. We have that within us, that resonancy that's like, I don't know how to describe it, but that's what connects it to us. So we see eye to eye with them. They see through our eyes, and we kind of go through the world as messengers, as agents of them. And you are an agent of change, and you have that spiritual alignment within you. You can be that earth angel. We all can. Just showing people how to live their lives in a more meaningful way. What do you fill your cup with? How do you educate people? What is really worth understanding and worth committing to? You know? And I think at the end of the day, you're a humanitarian. You believe in the people, you believe in justice. And even if you have to kind of go your own way, one act of kindness at a time, you are building this world to be something better. You don't have to be part of a large organization. You can be just someone who's going out there and volunteering. You're making a world of difference to the people who need you, and that's all that matters. So keep that in mind. And your conscious mind is aware that these things are coming through, new gifts are coming through that are going to make your job easier, or make like allowances for you to be able to go maybe even a part of a new organization to help the world. And if that's for you, then I just want to say congratulations, because it's a long time coming and this world needs you. These gifts coming through don't necessarily mean you're going to be all of a sudden this magic alien person channeling messages. It means you're going to be able to do your work here and what you love and have committed to with more passion, love, and honesty. You're able to see clearly and love people. That is your gift and superpower. Being you as a person trying to make the world a better place. That's the gift you're bringing here, whether it's with your psychic intuition, whether it's with knowing where you need to go next and where the needs are, where do you need to help people, what state do you need to go to, what kitchens you need to go to, who are the people there. Sometimes that's all you need, and that's strengthening a connection between you and God and the divinity in you. And so I would just want to say again, thank you, and I love you, because this is something the world needs and wants. Like, we are answering the prayers of the world. It's calling for help. Some people want to answer the call, and some people want to actually change. Others don't. You're just learning how to discern the difference and be you. Whether you are a leader or follower, remember, like, just be you. Love you. God loves you too. The universe does. We exist within each other. So thank you once again, my dear viewers. This has been a message from Archangel Michael, and he's saying one more thing before we go. Okay, he wants me to warn you about the shadows around you right now. Okay, let's do a little bit of shadow. What is shadows? Okay, so the shadows that are being cleared, you're getting out of the space of thinking that, yeah, poverty mindset, that you need more, you need to become more to exist in this way, when the truth is that, yeah, it's just the inner child. There is this wound surrounding you that has to do with your youth, something, your background, something that you were kind of born into and indoctrinated into that needs to fall away. And that's kind of a warning. Don't resist the temptation. What is that? Hold on. Okay, if things fall down around you, like resist the urge to go back. Don't resist the urge to change because things are changing in your favor because you deserve to be this Page of Cups because you really are. There's this beautiful child within you that looks at the world with love and doesn't take no for an answer. Somewhere along the line, someone told you that you couldn't do something and you believed it. Someone told you that you would fail and you believed it. Someone told you something couldn't be true and you believed it. Find that child a long time ago that was lost to the lies of others and try to get them out of this dark like abyss of the abyss of a winter that is just never ending. Just try to find that version of you that was lost, that was told you can't do this. Because in the mind of a child, like nothing is impossible. You know, children are very resilient and they feel like they're immortal and invincible. And for a while, that's okay for their protection. You got to tell them, no, you can get hurt. But if a child is told it often enough that they can't do something, they will believe it because that's all they're being taught. But if you know the truth of the world around you, you understand the lies, embody that optimism, quell the inner rage to get mad on behalf of your inner child. I know it's hard, but then turn around and just be bold and say, you know what? I'm going to do this thing and I just know it's going to be okay. Like embrace the part of you that once thought it was invincible, you know, the risk taker, you know, understanding the stakes involved and being optimistic is not necessarily being naive, but basically say, I'm going to do this no matter what, and I'm going to achieve something. It is just going to happen, and have that naive state of mind as a child. So that is what's coming through to you because this tower is blocking you, the refusal to end or change a mindset. And this might be a few of you, this might be for all of you, but this is something that needs to be cleared out because you are in charge of your emotions and your reactions at the end of the day. No matter who has hurt you, no matter who is trying to take control of your life, you are you, and there is no excuse. If you understand that people have hurt you, if you continue to be in their lives and actively, like, even I'm going to say trigger warning, punish yourself in some way by thinking, well, I deserve this and I need to be there. No, don't stick it out. It's like, no, don't be a martyr because that's not a good thing. Despite what anybody has told you, don't. You deserve better, and that's not going to help you. It's not going to help anyone. You're around people who don't deserve your light and love and authenticity. They're trying to hide it, if that's the case for some of you, or if you're just too afraid to let this end, which is understandable. And don't be hard on yourself. You deserve a lot of love and nurturing. But remember, the only way that things can kind of progress is if old things fall away. You know, you can't stay in high school forever. You got to graduate. And yes, it's hard, but you're going to move on and find new friends. Or if you had a loss, maybe you lost your home or your job. It's like, yeah, that's tough. That's not good, but do you stay in that empty shell of space that you used to be in, or do you move on and find a new one no matter how hard it is? That's for you to decide. So that's some of the tough love news coming at the end of this reading. And I'm just want to say my heart goes out to you. I'm here for you. I pray for a lot of love in your life and in your family, and, you know, blessing for this year to come. But do not fear this ending because justice happens. The sun will shine again, my loves. You are going to be okay. And call upon Michael. He loves you. Justice is served. I love you too. And I want to thank you once again for watching me, dear viewers. And I will see you in another reading.